When people hear the words growing old alone, they imagine silence. They picture a dark room, an empty chair, a forgotten face behind a window no one looks through. But what if I told you that growing old alone isn't always what people fear? That in many ways, it might be the most peaceful, powerful, and honest chapter of your life? This video is not about loneliness. It's about solitude. It's about what really happens when the noise fades, the crowd disappears, and you're left with just you. Because the truth is, growing old alone is misunderstood, and no one talks about what it's truly like. So today, let's break the silence. Let's walk into the truth, the pain, and the beauty of what it really means to age alone. Studio Microphone Part 1, The Fear That Starts Early. When we're young, we're told that being alone is something to avoid. Go find someone. Settle down. Don't end up alone. No one wants to die alone. Society pushes the idea that our value depends on companionship. That being single, widowed, or living alone later in life means failure or sadness. And so the fear begins early, not of death, but of dying without someone by our side. But here's the truth most people don't tell you. Being alone doesn't mean you are lonely, and being surrounded doesn't mean you are loved. Part 2, The Unexpected Freedom of Solitude. I once met a woman in her late 70s, divorced for over 30 years. Her children had moved abroad. Her neighbors changed every few years. And yes, she lived alone, but she smiled when I asked her how she felt about it. I eat when I'm hungry. I sleep when I'm tired. I read, I walk, I think. I don't miss arguing over the TV remote. I miss the idea of company sometimes, but I found peace here. Growing old alone gives you something few people ever talk about. Freedom. Freedom from noise. Freedom to make your own schedule. Freedom to rediscover yourself after decades of caring for others. And for many, it's the first time in their life they truly get to know themselves. Backhand index pointing right, aging alone can become a spiritual journey, not a social tragedy. Broken Heart Part 3, The pain is real, but it's not the whole story. Let's be honest. There are difficult nights. There are birthdays with no one to bake a cake. There are medical appointments where you wish someone could come along. There are holidays where the silence is too loud. But growing old alone isn't just one thing. It's not always sad, and it's not always peaceful. It's complicated. It's filled with layers of grief, gratitude, silence, and strength. You begin to grieve people who are still alive. Children too busy to visit. Siblings who stopped calling. Friends lost to memory or illness. But in the cracks of that pain, something begins to grow. A quiet resilience. An acceptance of life as it is, not as it was supposed to be. Part 4, Rediscovering Yourself After 60 or 70. Many people who age alone find something remarkable. They become someone new. A woman who always served her family starts painting again. A man who never cooked begins baking every Sunday. A widow rediscovers her love for poetry and joins a library club. A grandfather starts writing letters to his younger self. In solitude, you get space to look back with grace and forward with gentleness. You are no longer living for others. You begin living with yourself, and maybe for the first time, that feels okay. I never realized how much of me I gave away, a man once told me. Now I'm finally getting pieces of myself back. Telephone Receiver Part 5, The Difference Between Isolation and Solitude. There is a huge difference between isolation and solitude. Isolation is being disconnected from the world unintentionally or painfully. Solitude is choosing peace and quiet to think, reflect, and exist as you are. Growing old alone doesn't mean you have no one. It means your relationship with yourself becomes your most important one. And from there, new connections begin to grow, not always in the form of people but in purpose. Counterclockwise Arrows Button Part 6. Rewriting the Narrative of Aging Alone. Let's flip the story. What if growing old alone isn't a problem to be fixed, but a path to be embraced? What if it's a time for reflection instead of regret? What if it's a time to mentor, to write, to share, to create? What if this is the chapter where you finally say, "This is who I am"? Some people find love again in their 70s or 80s. Not always romantic love, but love in friends, causes, pets, art, books, silence. Blue Book Part 7, Lessons from Those Who've Done It. Here are some real truths from people over 70 who've embraced living alone. Speech balloon. I stopped waiting for someone to knock. I became the visitor to my own soul. Speech balloon, I no longer dread being alone. I dread wasting the little time I have left. Speech balloon, I used to feel empty in this house. Now it feels full, because I filled it with the parts of me I once hid away. Speech balloon, loneliness visits, but it doesn't live here anymore. These people didn't escape pain, but they didn't let it define them either. Lightbulb Part 8, How to Grow Old Alone and Still Feel Whole. Here are a few practical ways to embrace aging alone and feel connected. Small blue diamond, create a daily ritual. It gives your life rhythm and purpose. Small blue diamond, join a local senior group or online community. You're not truly alone. Small blue diamond, speak to yourself with kindness. You are your own companion now. Small blue diamond, find small joys. A morning cup of tea, a sunset, a favorite old song. Small blue diamond, adopt a pet. If able, animals bring warmth and routine. Small blue diamond, share your story. Through writing, talking, or mentoring, you become eternal. Growing old alone doesn't mean you failed. It means you lived long enough to watch the world change and still be here. You're not invisible. You're not forgotten. You're becoming something quieter, wiser, and stronger than the world knows how to name. So if you're waking up alone today, remember, you are still whole. You are still worthy. And this chapter of your life, just like every other, still matters deeply. Maybe more than ever. Orange heart, if this video touched your heart, please like and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Speech balloon, comment below, are you growing old alone, or do you know someone who is? What does it feel like for you? Bell, subscribe to Wisdom of Older Age for more deep, honest, and healing reflections every week. Outbox Stray, share this with a parent, grandparent, or friend. You never know whose heart it may heal.